This is my 2007 GT2 RS Evo that I spent the better part of a decade building. The car is an exact replica of the real thing with original parts, unlike some recent RS replica builds on YouTube. In the previous episodes, we took the car to get a baseline on a rolling road before we started the modifications. The car has had rebuilt and modified turbos, upgraded DO88 intercoolers and Y-pipe, a host of replacement hoses and coolant lines, and the car also had CSF radiators and new condensers to replace the old ones which were disintegrating, and we modified the front bumper to stop damage to the new units. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video with my 911. Now, what are we doing here today? Standing next to a skip. We're actually in North Manchester at a place called Chip Wizards, which you will have known. If you've been watching this series, you'll know that I came here to get a baseline for my car before we did all of the work on it. Obviously the car's had the new turbos and the new intercoolers and all that stuff. And now we're back here today to finally have the car tuned, because it's still running the old map from before it had those new turbos. And we're going to see what it makes. I'm super excited. How do you start? Do you go back to standard? Do you work with what you have?
So if you had a GT2, if you could get hold of a GT2 RS file and just plonk it in, then that's not generally a bad place to start, because Porsche spent however many hours doing their R&D. Right. You know, so if you built the car to a GT2 RS spec, it's not unreasonable to start with a GT2 RS file. Right. However, you can't always do that because of how it communicates with other modules in the system. Right. You know, modules that the GT2 RS might not have. There's no one answer at the end of the day. It depends what you're dealing with, how you approach it. All I was going to do is turn that limiter off, test it, see what we've got. Right.
It's super cold in there because of all the fans and the extraction and everything. And last time I put my jacket on, and this time I remembered to bring my jacket with me, and then I left it in my can at Tech 9. Seeing some very interesting figures on the screen right now. So it was before 554 brake horsepower with 521 at the wheels. It's going to take a few hours to do this, so I'm just monitoring it. But it's already a 600 plus horsepower car at the crank. So to be honest, I'm pretty happy already. But it would be nice to see it go up to 611 brake horsepower. I looked it up online. Was the figure for the GT2 RS in brake horsepower. 611 is the one to beat. 620 is the metric, is 620 PS. But we work on brake horsepower in the UK, so I'm going to go with 611 brake horsepower. That's the target. So Wayne was just saying that he said it's a balancing act between keeping the heat in the tyres and getting enough cooling to the intercoolers. On the dyno screen here, quite often it says too much slip, and then he says that the intercoolers are overheating because they can't get enough air in there. So he's trying to find that balance, you know. Obviously he's operating in very high powers now. So yeah, I don't understand the wizardry that he's doing in there with his computer and stuff, but I understand that he needs to get plenty of air to those intercoolers to cool to cool the turbos. So we didn't gain that much really, did we? It was 554 before, and now we've got new turbos. We've only got 625. I mean, I'm saying only, like it's still a lot of power. But my point is that I expected it to go up by more than sort of 60, 75.
Well, I mean, it's not requesting any more boost. So the increase in performance you've got is purely from efficiency.
Okay.
So these turbos will probably do more boost, but I haven't asked it to do it.
I see.
Boost.
Okay.
If it does GT2 RS Pro, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
And it is doing.
Yeah.
At no increase in boost. So I don't know how much headroom there is on the injectors without putting an oscilloscope on.
Okay.
Because if there's nothing left in the injectors, there's no point trying to give it more boost because it won't have enough fuel. As it is, it's a happy car as it is.
Okay. I saw a torque figure of, I think it said 856.
New meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, will be about, yeah.
Wow. So that's considerable. I understand what you're saying. That a lot of tuners would be tempted to increase the boost and.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
To get maximum.
Broken cars aren't fast though.
Right.
So.
Pretty sure I saw one with 625 at some point, 624 or something like that. PMAX 624. And then power at the wheel 575.
Yeah.
So it was 629 pound-feet, which I think I saw 856 in newton meters.
Yeah.
The 997 GT2 RS is 700 newton meters. There we go.
7.
Yeah, 856.
What do you said standard one is?
700.
700 newton meters?
The 997 one, yeah. The 991 is 800.
Oh, right.
According to the internet, of course.
Oh, well, the misinformation there.
Yeah, let's see where I got that from. It was AI, so it gotta be right.
Oh, yeah.
From Evo, actually. Evo magazine. 611 brake horsepower. 516 pounds-feet of torque. I'm pretty happy with those numbers. It's crazy. Like I said, it already scares the shit out of me, even before. It was just like to complete the build, you know, because I did so much to the car, and I just wanted to finish it off and get the numbers up there to where they should be. So, yeah, pretty happy. I'm just deciding on whether or not to put the diff back in. Keep it rear-wheel drive. Or Phil says he'd keep it rear-wheel drive, but I think you're a better driver than I am. I like the security of the all-wheel drive. We ended up with 575 at the wheels, 624 at the crank, which is more than the GT2 RS. Now the torque figures were unbelievable. 856 is more than the standard 997 GT2 RS, which was 700. In actual fact, I believe the 991 GT2 RS was 800 newton meters, so this has got more torque than the 991. And the other thing is he said that he tuned the car basically without turning up the boost. He actually gave me a funny look when I seemed a little bit disappointed, which was quite funny. So yeah, I'm very happy with those figures. Like I said, if I was crazy for more power, they could turn up the boost. Now I've got to drive an hour in a 600 plus horsepower car on Cup Sport 2s, which are 10 years old, and it's hailstoning. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong, right? So yeah, anyway, it's safe to say I'm not going to be testing the new power today. All right, guys, so there you have it. Back at Tech 9. Car is still needs to be finished off. New tyres need to go on. They deemed it sensible to not put the new tyres on for the rolling roads because they can damage tyres, cause them to blister, etc. I didn't get the torque figures from the previous rolling road, so I can't compare them. But I don't know whether it's in the paperwork. If it is, I'll put it on screen. Since then, I've been speaking to Phil as well, and Wayne also explains it in the video, but Phil also said that the turbo, the 997 turbo runs 1.2 bar of boost. The GT2 RS runs 1.6 bar of boost. He said, so if you turned up the boost on the car to the same as the GT2 RS, you're going to get more horsepower than the GT2 RS. I mean, you already have more horsepower, but you'll get even more, right? But it's not a good idea to do that. the car was designed to run on 1.2. Wayne never changed that. So the car's effectively running on the factory boost specs, which is better for longevity of the engine. I don't want to blow the engine up, right? As Wayne said, broken cars are not fast. So it's very, very true. So yeah, so all things considered, I mean, it's such an incredible number. I mean, it's easy to get lost these days with a lot of modern cars have 1,000 horsepower and stuff, but this was already quite violent when you accelerated. So yeah, I haven't driven it hard. Obviously, you saw the weather was shocking on the way back. There's plenty of time for that. But obviously, I'll make a video next time I take it out, and the first time I take it out to run it with its full power. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye. You may have seen adverts about devices like this. This is a Carly OBD2 port scanner. Watch this video because I'm going to explain to you what they don't tell you in all of those adverts with Tavares and Shmee and Chris Licks and Matt Armstrong. What they don't tell you about these, which can cost you a lot of money.